Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Ankerstar Wealth Market Update. I'm your host, Allison Ankerstar, and today we'll be talking about the Amazon share split, whether or not Chinese ride-sharing firm Didi is back from the dead, and the latest to student debt forgiveness. But before we begin, as a reminder, this is a financial education presentation and should not be construed as personal financial advice. Full disclaimer information is available at ankerstarwealth.com. Good morning, Steve. Amazon executed their 20-for-1 split this weekend. What's next for Amazon stock?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Casual Monday here at Ankerstar Wealth. So Amazon, you may have noticed, almost everybody has this in their accounts with me. We've been loading up on this for a while. You may have noticed now you have 20 times the number of shares it used to have, and that the stock is, a much smaller price than it was before. So you can see today we're looking at 125 bucks. Obviously it was around 2,500 in the in its prior form, if you will. So again, a 20-for-1 split, mechanically, it's like taking a $100 bill and giving somebody, taking the 100 and giving them back $25 bills, right? So, I mean, it really doesn't change anything on the valuation as far as the actual stock itself, but it does change, kind of the mental situation. The stock appears cheaper, and because it is a lower price, with fractional shares now, you can generally buy a smaller amount, but mentally people think, okay, $125 is obviously a cheaper stock than 2,500, so I think I will buy it. So what is it? But the question is, what's going to happen with Amazon stock? All right, we're on a 1-month chart here, and you can see that in the past month, the stock has rocketed higher, if you will. But that's not the whole story. If you back it up to a 1-year chart, you'll see a much different story, right? So it has come down significantly in March. It had the highs back here at the end of last year, there was a big bump up in March, if you will, after the initial sell-off, and then it's really cratered from that. Now it's on its way back up. So overall, what do I think is next for Amazon stock? I think it's going to rocket higher. Here's your, PE of 59. That's a little bit pricey, but still, it's Amazon. You look at the return on equity, gross margin numbers. I mean, really a lot to love about this company, and it's got some split up value, right? It has Amazon Web Services, so in addition to bringing everything to your door, it has its content stream through Amazon Prime Video. It has the, Amazon Web Services. So there's several other initiatives that they're running out there. So still bullish on Amazon. It's the number 2 holding in the book. So I think it's got a long way up to here. I think it can probably go to 150 in almost a straight line now that it has split. And that's been the trend for stocks that have split in the past.
Next, Chinese ride-sharing firm Didi is up over 50% this morning. Is ticker DIDI a buy-seller hold?
Okay, Didi has been a house of pain, as with all of the Chinese stocks that are out there. These are great companies. They really are. When you talk Didi, JD.com, Baidu, Alibaba, those are some names that you may have heard of. But you know what? If you've been investing in these things, you've taken a complete bath, right? You've lost upwards of 70, 80, 90% in some time, in some cases. But there's when stocks go down, there's always a time to get back in. I think this is a clear reentry point on Didi. Now, as I say that, and I think it's a screaming buy, but as I say that, I also say there is a ton of risk in the Chinese stock market, and there's a ton of risk in stocks that are below $5, and there's a ton of risk specific to Didi because the rideshare companies have always faced regulatory scrutiny that is, super painful, right? So, don't even bother investing in this if you're not, accepting of a super high risk situation. But you can pick up a share for $3, should stay under 350 today, even if it continues going higher. But China's been in lockdown. They're starting to release from the lockdown. That China's dumping a bunch of money into their economy to help recover from the lockdown. Guess who did that a couple of years ago? We did. Maybe we're paying the price for that. Won't get into inflation today, but certainly. And then there's the regulatory piece. You can see in this article I have here on CNBC that they're concluding their investigations, right? So if they're penalized, whatever is going to happen, if they get fined, they're going to have a fine and then move higher. If you remember, Luckin Coffee got fined, and then it went like 10x after that, because once you do the crime, you pay you do the time, right? So you get whatever the Chinese government thinks should be an appropriate fine or penalty in this situation, and then it can scream higher. When you look at the chart, 1 month tells a different story, much like Amazon. 1 month tells a story of a stock going from a 150 to over $3. Well, let's just go ahead and back that out to the year. Yeah, stock was at $8 and now it's up 50% today, up to $3, right? So a huge amount of bleeding that's been done. When you look at the numbers that I care about anyway, earnings per share negative 1.66. That's kind of not bad, right? For a growing company. So they're not profitable, but they are growing. A negative, barely negative PE, forward P of 0.36. Whenever you see this specific situation where they have a current negative PE and a forward PE that is positive, that means they anticipate that they are going to be profitable in the next quarter. I don't know that they will be, but they're forecasting that. And if that's the case, that flip to profitability is often a buy trigger that keeps a lot of mutual funds, index funds, and all of that who cannot invest in things that aren't profitable. So, consider. I think it's poised uniquely after a huge sell-off to go higher. I can't guarantee you it's going to scream higher unabated, but I do think it's a clear buy in this situation.
Last, the Biden administration is leaning towards forgiving $10,000 in student loan debt for those making under $150,000. Do you think this is going to happen, and what are the pros and cons?
Well, this is a tough one, right? I do think it's going to happen. It's probably going to be 10,000, and that's going to be it. That's my guess on the situation. That's just trying to read the politics and human nature in the United States right now. And it is a little bit of a hot button issue. And obviously, if you're out there and you're listening to this and you have a lot of student debt, I do empathize with you. It sucks. I get it. I do get it. But that's the human side of me. The economics and financial planner / investment manager side of me, it is an investment in yourself. And for those that I will say that in a country where you can choose to be anything, you chose to be broke, right? So if you go 6 figures into debt in your 20s, you chose to do that. That wasn't. Nobody made you do that. Somebody might have convinced you that was a great idea. But generally, yeah, that's a lot of money, boys and girls, right? So, a lot of these situations, it's hard to feel sorry for folks. Maybe there was some pressure to go to college or they thought they had to or whatever. But, you should look at college like a financial transaction like anything else. You are investing in yourself. Go out the door. If student debt is a thing, then take the debt. But I wouldn't expect somebody to come in and take your debts away, right? Yeah, other countries pay for education. You know what? You can move there, right? But you don't want to because here we have the greatest country in the world. But what I do think is it's kind of funny that, and these are sensationalized headlines, but I mean, come on, man, if you've seen the ESPN stuff, cancel it all or do nothing. Okay, so you're going to turn away $10,000 because they're not going to forgive your whole debt. Really? Maybe that's the kind of math that got you into the situation that you're in. I don't know your specifics, but yeah, I wouldn't be so clear to turn away the 10K, right? And then you really get into some of the examples down here. Yeah, 10K would be substantial. You need to live within your means, yes, and that includes paying off your student loans. 10,000 would barely put a dent in what I owe. Well, okay, it's still $10,000. Let's not be snarky with it. And then here was the cancel it all or do nothing because I'm so far behind and 42 years old and still has 50,000 left to pay off. Yeah, tough place to be. I got it. But back to the original question. Yes, I do think it's going to happen, but I think that's all that's going to happen. I don't think our country is going to adopt a free education policy or, erase all student debt. I think that would be shooting ourselves in the financial foot as a country to do that. And plus, there is some value in you took the debt, you needed to pay off the debt. Right. So overall, Allison, that's what I'll conclude with is yes, it'll happen. But I think that's all that's going to happen going forward.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions. Please submit your questions as a comment through social media or directly to our email at vipservices@ankerstarwealth.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to get daily updates. That's all we have for today's show. I'm Allison Ankerstar. We'll see you back here tomorrow.